with Republican Congressman Ken Buck of Colorado. Congressman, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it. We learned today that just hours after his arraignment, former President Trump intends to deliver remarks down at MarALago. I guess just to start things off, do you think that's a good idea?
You know, Jim, I was a prosecutor for 25 years. Anytime a defendant spoke, it was a benefit to the prosecution. So I don't think it's a great idea. I think this case involves both, as Caitlin was saying earlier, both politics and the law. And so I think that he will be talking on the political side. He may very well say things that could be used against him later. I think his attorneys are going to do their very best to review his remarks and make sure that he does not incriminate himself in anything he says in that speech on Tuesday night.
And do you join in what some of your Republican colleagues are saying in calling this a political persecution and political and so on? What's your sense of it?
Well, my sense is, Jim, I would have a lot more confidence if this case were being brought in the federal system as opposed to the state system. I was a federal prosecutor for 15 years, a state prosecutor for 10 years. We couldn't get tax returns as an assistant U.S. attorney without permission from Washington, D.C. We couldn't file racketeering charges without permission from Washington, D.C. The federal system is set up so that there are layer after layer of review by sometimes registered Republicans, sometimes registered Democrats, but career prosecutors who are trained to look at issues without an eye towards politics. The problem with having an elected district attorney review a case like this as the final arbiter of whether to go forward or not is he made statements during the campaign that he was interested in pursuing a case against Donald Trump. You just don't have the same level of comfort in a state prosecution that you do with a federal prosecution.
But of course, when the focus was on Hillary Clinton back in 2016, you and other prominent Republicans were taking it to the Democratic nominee at that time. We can bring up a comment of yours from a Trump rally in 2016. This was reported at that time. You said to the crowd, quote, this is October 26, 2016, Lady Justice doesn't see black or white. She doesn't see male or female. She doesn't see rich or poor. But soon Lady Justice will see Hillary Clinton. Setting aside the fact that Hillary Clinton was never charged with any wrongdoing, why not demand accountability in this Trump case, no matter who the prosecutor is?
Oh, I think there should be accountability in this case. But this is Hillary Clinton was being investigated in the federal system. And as I said, there are layers and layers of protection for defendants in the federal system to make sure that we're not just targeting somebody because of their former status as a government official. That same protection doesn't apply. So we're not dealing with a blindfolded Lady Justice in this situation. We're dealing with a political prosecutor who has stated that he is going after President Trump. I haven't seen the indictment, and I can't give an opinion as to the strength of the indictment at this point. But I am suspicious when the former federal prosecutor walked away from this case. The former DA, Cyrus Vance Jr. in Manhattan, didn't prosecute this case, and now this district attorney, after making a campaign promise, is prosecuting this case.
But wasn't there a grand jury looking at this? You're not saying that the grand jury was political?
Absolutely. No, I'm not saying the grand jury is political at all. I have a great deal of respect for grand jury investigations. The grand jury only receives the information and only is able to really decipher the information that it's given by the prosecutor. There may have been one or two witnesses on behalf of President Trump, but the defense attorneys are never going to put their full case in front of a grand jury. The rules of justice don't apply. The rules of evidence don't apply, and the grand jury only finds probable cause. It does not find proof beyond a reasonable doubt. That's going to be left up to a jury if this case, in fact, gets to a jury in Manhattan.